Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Woo! So, we just want to remind you that throughout the pandemic, Waffle House has remained open and continued to provide support when most agencies have shut their doors, providing aids such as food, diapers, housing mediation, legal services, bilingual self-care, all at no cost to the community. We are one of the only agencies in the tri-state area that provided culturally sensitive staff who offer a multitude of services to Middle Eastern, Muslim, Arab, and Turkish communities. In a time where many undocumented community members have been turned away from support, Waffle House welcomes them with open arms. So please join us for 30 days of virtual events streaming live via our social media platform and donate now. Woo! I'll put the link for y'all. And today, to really kick off DV Awareness Month, we have an amazing speaker. They are a therapist, writer, activist, CEO of Bright Doll Face, hype coach, Tejal, Parekh. And they will be talking about exiting toxic relationships. So, welcome, welcome. We are excited to have you today. And obviously, you can tell they have the hype host with the hype coach.
Yes.
Welcome them in the comments. Say welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's do this. Welcome them. And kick it off. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, and then we will begin.
Yes, I'm excited. Thank you so much, Hala. And thank you so much again to Waffle House. I am immensely grateful to be here today. Once again, my name is Tejal Parekh. I am hype coach and CEO of my brand at Bright Doll Face. I am an activist, writer, being able to provide different empowerment to women in regards to body confidence, self-love, self-care, exiting out of toxic relationships, and being able to embrace their bodies and loving themselves along their own journey. So as a domestic violence warrior and survivor, I'm very blessed to be here today to also speak to you all, because as I always constantly use my testimony through my platform to be able to constantly empower more women and individuals to be able to exit out any toxic relationship in their life. So once again, thank you so much. I am so immensely grateful to be here today. Yes. Woo, woo, woo,
Woo!
woo, woo. Yes.
We're so excited. All
Hey,
right.
hey, hey.
Let's do
Let's
the
go. Let's go. They're not ready for us. Hey,
They're not.
hey,
They're not
hey,
ready.
hey,
This is
hey.
gonna be the most entertaining live yet.
Yes.
They don't know what they got themselves into. They're
They
like,
don't.
Saturday, I was not expecting all this energy, but
And then boom.
exactly, boom, on your Facebook page. Like, look
Yes.
at us. So let's kick it off. So, my first question: what are toxic relationships?
An incredible question. Thank you so much, Shahada. Well, first and foremost, toxic relationships. It is a relationship that may be draining you. It is something that I constantly talk about on my platform and just in general as a therapist. Being able to talk about the fact that we are increasingly becoming more and more aware of our energy, our time, and so forth. And I think we're becoming more informative as we continue to have tools at the fingertips of our hands, right? Being able to have phones, internet, and so forth to be able to learn more things when it comes to toxic relationships. So, first and foremost, it may be a relationship that may be draining you. It could be a romantic relationship where it's pretty much constantly overbearing you, noticing red flags. The minute that you see certain things when it comes to red flags, let's say, for example, you may be feeling like that romantic relationship, you're being controlled. You may find manipulation. You may see certain things that, let's say, for example, they're draining the life out of you. It can be from one spectrum to another spectrum. It all depends on that toxic relationship. But this is an idea to give you when it comes to toxic relationships and what to expect, because these are things that can happen in a toxic relationship. And to keep in mind, the moment that you see red flags, don't run from them. Sit there, listen, understand, what are these red flags? Why is this happening? Reflect, take time, speak to your support group, speak to your support systems. Understanding that when it comes to toxic relationship, don't be embarrassed. I understand the feeling when it comes to having to share that with somebody that you love, your girls, or your, maybe, let's say, your family, to talk about this topic. But it's important that you start to ask questions and you begin to understand what that may look like. And you also have to see something else. The moment you question a toxic relationship and that person, you need to see that that's a red flag, because if that relationship is causing you to think and question, that goes to show you that might just be a toxic relationship, especially if you're feeling drained every single moment after having a conversation with that individual, or there may just be some type of emotional abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, etc. So these are things to keep in mind.
Hey, oh, sorry. Ah,
Yes.
let me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Uh, Thank you. That was a great explanation. It was very accessible. I appreciate how you explained it. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Um, can you tell us the importance of exiting a toxic relationship? Why is
Yes.
it important? Like, why can't we just stay in one?
Mm. You see, that's an important and vital question. Thank you so much, Shahada. So, when it comes to exiting this toxic relationship, why should you? Why do you all think it's important to exit a relationship? Well, when it comes to toxicity, the longer you stay in it, the harder it's going to be to get out of it. The more that you begin to stay in this relationship and not allowing yourself to be able to be free of it, the longer it becomes more difficult to be able to understand and see what's actually happening. Exiting one will allow you to be able to be free in that way, being able to be in a healthy relationship. Remember, you should constantly ask yourself about your friendships, your relationships, whether romantic or not, and maybe your family members, etc. Because remember, these are different ways and different parts of relationships. It doesn't only have to be a romantic relationship, but you should honestly always look at your circle. You should always look at the ones that are near you and are part of your life, and then inquire, sit back, reflect, journal, think about, what is this relationship doing for me in my life? And if it's so toxic, do I want to keep this relationship in my life? Once again, sitting back, reflecting, journaling, talking, discussing this, talking with yourself and maybe your support group. What is this relationship really what I want in my life? Is this relationship bringing any positivity to my life? If you see it's bringing more negative than positive, it's really time to cut it out of your life. Okay, cut it out. There's no need to keep a relationship that is that toxic in your life with you. It may be comfortable. You see, as human beings, the majority of us love comfortability. We love to be in our comfort zone. We love to be in where, we feel like most comfortable. It can be difficult to adapt. Hence this pandemic. Hello, being able to now be virtually, right? Being able to now have to adapt to that. That's not only as individuals who, as many of us working in our careers, but also those who are scholars, children, adults, etc., being able to study, and now we have to move and adapt to a virtual platform. Hence, you're here today with Waffle House and Bright Doll Face, your head coach, Tejal, MSW, once again, yes. And you're here today learning a workshop. So you're still being able to have this blessing with you at the palm of your hand. So if you think about this, the immense idea that we're so used to comfortability, we like to be in the comfort. Sometimes you got to shake up your world. You have to understand that you don't deserve to be in anything less. You deserve more. Once again, you deserve more. So you must understand, and you need to always believe this. Write that to yourself. Affirm. For those who are here right now and listening to us, I hope you're able to just, type in the comments right now and say, I affirm, I believe that I am worthy. I believe that I am worthy. I believe that I deserve more. I believe I deserve more. Affirm these things every single day. Use your your post-its. Use post-its to be able to go ahead and like post around your wall. Being able to constantly put these affirmations up and allow yourself to go ahead and see it every day. Because the more that you see it every day, the more you're going to believe it. The more that you see it, you believe it, and you read it, you're going to understand that you don't deserve to be in any toxic relationship. Okay. It is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Do you know that the increase of domestic violence has been up? Do you understand right now, whoever's watching this video right now and being here with us live via Facebook and YouTube, please understand that you deserve more. Please understand that you deserve to be in something positive. Okay. Keep this in mind when you affirm, once again, affirm with us. I deserve more. I am worthy. I deserve more, and I am worthy. When you believe those things, you will see it before your eyes, and you will exit out of that toxic relationship so quick, you have no idea. Period.
Cool. So let me turn myself back on. Yes,
Yes.
yes. Um, so these are great points. Thank you so much. I'm learning so much, and you're making such valid points that really hit home. Because it's like, for myself, I've gone through similar experiences, and it's like when you're there, it's so comfortable. It's hard to, but telling yourself,
Yes.
hey, you deserve more, you deserve better. That's what really pushed me to like leave those situations.
Yes.
And like you said, it's not romantic, because I've had DV with roommates, friendships, like you name it, it's been there. But you know uh does this only and tying back to this question,
Yes.
um does it only include romantic? Does it also include like other relationships? Like for myself, does it count as DV if I wasn't living with the person, or if I am living with person? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Thank you so much, Shada. And I agree with you because, see, the thing is that toxic relationships don't only hit romantic relationships, as we've been discussing, right? It also hits the friendships. It can hit even family. Yes, it can even become to an emotional abuse, physical abuse. It can also become DV within family, right? Maybe that's something you grew up in. Maybe that's something that you were exposed to or you're currently going through with a family member because they may just be really toxic. So these are things to keep in mind. And sometimes we say, well, that's my family. Or they'll use a terminology and they'll try to manipulate it and switch it around and say, well, no, you're my child. Well, no, I'm your father. I'm your mother. I'm your aunt. I'm your uncle. I'm your cousin. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter. Okay. What matters is that your mental health, your emotional health, your well being, that comes first. So if you've been the type of person that's always put yourself last, this is your wake up call. It's time for you to wake up. Okay. 10:33 in the morning. Wake up because it's time for you to understand that you deserve to have more. You don't deserve to have less. It's time for you to put yourself first because if you don't do it, who is going to do it for you? This is something I constantly ask my followers, my clients. If you don't do it first, who is going to do it for you? Right? And the thing is that when you're so used to giving, when you're so used to being able to allow other people to just take advantage or allow them to do certain things, you have to understand that you also deserve to have that self-respect, that self-love first. It all comes down to self-love. It all comes down to being able to love yourself hard enough that you need to put yourself first. Okay. You must allow yourself to do everything first. You must allow yourself to be able to exit out of any toxic relationship, even when it comes to family, even friendships. Okay. Please understand, do not put that pressure to somebody during this pandemic right now. But trust and believe, if there have not been a positive friendship in your life, you need to cut them out. They needs to go. Okay. once again, you need to cut them out, because if they're draining you, they make it all about themselves. It's difficult to even have a conversation with them. They're, constantly draining your life. They constantly come to you for advice, but it's not, a reciprocation of a friendship. You're not, you're watering them as if they are growing, and they're growing, they're blooming. But what about you? You deserve to bloom. Don't you know that? Do you know that you deserve to bloom? You deserve to bloom and grow together as a friendship, or whether it's a romantic relationship, and even if it was family. You see, as we continue to grow as a generation, and just as individuals, the more that we become more informed about certain things and toxicity and how we cannot remain in the same thing, that is something you constantly are going to learn as individuals. But as you come to these workshops that Waffle House is offering you, the more informative and the more involved you will become in understanding, to allow your mindset to grow. Remember, you always want a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, right? You always want to understand that it is vital for you to not be in any toxicity, okay? If you believe that you deserve to be in that, you need to ask yourself, why do you believe that? What has occurred in your life that you believe that you deserve to stay in that relationship? And then you also need to understand, you don't need to be in any toxic friendship. Doesn't matter the amount of years. You could be friends with somebody for years. That doesn't make no difference. What makes it important is that you're protecting your heart, you're protecting your energy, you're allowing yourself to be with the right people. And it's okay. We all go through this, no matter our ages, no matter our, where we are in life, right? Whether we're just starting life or whether we're, in the middle of it, right? It doesn't make a difference. Day, what you need to understand is that you come first. It has to be you first. It has to be you exiting out of these toxic relationships. Because if you don't, the longer you stay in it, the longer you're denying your own happiness. And I know that it may seem a little firm, but sometimes you need that tough love. Sometimes you need to wake up and say, no more, no más, no more. You need to be able to be with yourself, being able to enjoy your own happiness, your own self-love, and be around those who really love and care for you. That's what you need. And that's the importance of exiting toxic relationships. And again, as I said, like, it doesn't matter how long you've been in it. It doesn't matter of, oh, I'm embarrassed. Guess what? Cut that out. Just understand that you don't need to be embarrassed. All you need to know is just honor your feelings, but understand that just exit it. Hold on, get that support system. There's hotlines. You have your family members. You have Waffle House. You have, myself. You have different individuals here that are here to support you and will empower you to continue on your journey, because your happiness, your self-love, your peace of mind, and your positive life and wellness comes first before anything else. We are not allowing any more toxicity in 2020. Okay? Period.
Yes, let them know 2020 is not the time for, we're detoxing. That's what 2020 is.
Correct.
Everybody's like,
Hmm.
let's get rid of 2020. No, we're going to use the time wisely to detox.
Period.
Oh, those
Period.
are amazing points that you made. And, it's just like it gets the wheels turning. So thank you for
Yes.
that.
Thank you.
Um, wow. Like, I'm just, first of all, I love your energy. And then just
Thank you.
the structure of how you presented the information was great.
Thank you.
I think we can open it up for some questions. Are you ready for
Yes.
from the
Yes,
audience?
yes. I would love, please.
All right, everyone, let's hear. Do we have some questions, comments, concerns? What struck you the most? What did you want to say thank you? Like, ask your questions. We got the time, I see you. All
Yes.
right. Okay, let's see. Okay.
Mhm.
So we have a question. Oh, okay. So this one says this applies to workplace environment.
Yes.
Um, as a post victim of long term toxic relationship, it can be hard to break free of the mind frame of
Mhm.
self blame. Learning to recognize the sign of toxicity is so important. Realization this is not a healthy environment I need to break from. believing in one's ability to be brave and move forward.
Mhm.
Very good. Very nice, Teresa. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes.
This is in my little watch party. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, maybe if you could, because I think a lot of us, especially with the pandemic and everything going on, a lot of
Yes.
exploitation of folks that do have to work during this time or fortunate enough to be able to work.
Mhm.
Maybe can you touch base on maybe like how that works, how we can break free of that, or some points of exiting toxic relationships in the workplace?
Oh yes, I would love to. Thank you so much to that question once again. So pretty much in regards to yes, toxic relationships can happen in the workplace. Guess what? And it can be something that you may not be attributing to. It's just something that that individual. So first and foremost, remember, do not take everything personal, because once you start to take things personal, that is the down road that you do not want to go down. Okay, understanding that it can happen, but this is why when it comes to toxic relationships and in every setting, you must understand to have boundaries. Okay, once again, boundaries. You must have boundaries, because if you're not having boundaries and you're not allowing yourself to not be exposed to something like this, you have to understand that there will be individuals that will constantly test your energy, and maybe this is not something on purpose, maybe there's something that happens, and there are sometimes people who for whatever reason, that's something that's deeper within themselves, they want to start some type of hostility in the workplace. And if that begins to happen, you need to ensure that you're constantly having a boundary, you're constantly communicating to maybe, let's say, a supervisor about what's occurring. Please do not keep it within yourself. You need to understand that there's a way up. Okay, you need to know your rights as an employee, you need to read your handbook, you need to understand that there are ways to talk about this, right? Let's say you have an advocate in your agency or your company, or speaking to your supervisor about X, Y, and Z, finding solutions. Talk to your supervisor about it, but bring solutions. Okay, this is something I've learned in my own career, and it's that you must bring solutions to a supervisor, because that way you're saying, okay, this is a problem with John Doe. John Doe is just constantly bringing some type, trying to start some type of fight, or maybe some type of hostility, and you find that this is not the first occurrence. You've spoken to John Doe constantly about, you don't appreciate the tone of the person speaking, you don't appreciate the comments or the way they're approaching you, and you've spoken to John Doe constantly about it, and now you're bringing it up to another level. And the reason for that is because it's important that you document everything, right? You don't want this to go down the long run. Your job is as important as everybody else's job, right? But it's important that now that we're working here from home, it's very important that you don't blur the lines. Okay, remembering that you want that boundary between you and the coworker. Remember that you're here to work. Sometimes we want to constantly be friends with everybody, but you must understand that first and foremost, they're your colleague before your friend. Okay, that includes even supervisors. They're your supervisor before they're your friend, so please keep them that in mind. And when it comes to toxicity, it can happen, but once again, like I explained, keeping those boundaries, open communication, making sure you're speaking to your supervisor. And if nothing happens, the next step, HR, human resources. This is why human resources exists. This is why that system is available to you all. So things to keep in mind. I hope that answered your question.
Perfect. Yes, that I think that did. Somebody else wanted to say thank you for reminding us that DV also extends to your relationships with your family, and that's very important.
Yes. Thank you.
Um, so I think you kind of touched based on the next question that came in, but they were saying, what are the steps you can take to learn how to create boundaries and
Mm.
defines our boundaries?
Well, yes, thank you so much, Shahada. So, like we were just saying, right? So, pretty much
Little
being able to
tidbit tricks to
understand,
figure out. Yes.
yes, understanding that they're not your friend, they're your colleague first and foremost. And because sometimes we want to automatically establish that relationship because work is our second home. But guess what? Keep to your friendships in your circle. Stay to that, because the more have that, in your life trying to have these boundaries up, constantly trying to have these relationships at the workplace, it's not always professional in that way. You can be friends and to an extent, but to an extent, understand that once you start to open up, you may then feel like once you open up so much, then it's kind of like backfiring on you if that relationship and friendship doesn't work out. So be sure to just keep the boundary there. Understand that that's your colleague, your coworker, your supervisor, and that's it. Keep it there. And understanding that you must keep yourself accountable, right? So making sure that you make these boundaries in this way and communicating this as well. You can always say too, you're my colleague, that's how far it's gonna be, and that's it. You know what I mean? That way that's also cleared up, and that's a conversation that can be held. And this is some ways to have those boundaries in the workplace, and also respect your time. You know what I mean? That's another way, because sometimes even work can get toxic, right? And then you begin to burn out. So it's important that you go ahead and just start to have that boundary with yourself, and being able to just keep yourself accountable. You can't always expect everybody to always do the things that you think they're going to do, right? You also have to keep yourself accountable, because if you don't, then guess what? How can then somebody apply what you're not preaching, right? If you're preaching but not applying, then how can they go ahead and apply it? If you're not keeping that boundary, then how can they follow that boundary, right? So those are ways to think about that.
Yes, I love it. Those are great. I think that is so important because I think
Yeah.
just like you said, right now with the pandemic, just so many aspects of our lives are
Yes.
being intertwined with DV, and like we don't even think about it. Like we don't have the vocab skill or the knowledge skill that, oh, this is what this is, or the awareness. So thank you for that. We really
Of
appreciate
course.
it.
Thank you too.
And do you
Mhm.
have do you want to ask a few more questions? How you want to, do you have any closing things you want
Remarks.
to add before the next questions?
Oh, no, no. Please bring on more questions if there are any, and then we'll definitely do our closing remarks.
Oh, hi everyone. More questions. More
Hey.
questions. My mom's been asking most of the questions.
I love it. Yes. Thank you, Mom.
But my mom is definitely that's something that we've worked on within our own family because we've had these
Awesome.
experiences like growing up, like
Yes.
her, myself, all these things. So we've been on journeys of healing and
Oh, that's the best journey, is when you're able to heal. And then especially when it's able to happen even with your mom and somebody you're close to, that's a blessing. So that's amazing. Kudos to you both.
thank
Yes.
you. It's been a lot of work, but we've done it. We've
Yes.
like from I don't know how many years ago to today, it's two different relationships.
Beautiful.
Um, but yes, anybody have any questions? Come on, I love the energy. More
Yes.
questions, more questions. We're getting a lot of yes in my watch party.
Yeah. I love it. I love
Come
it. I
on.
love
I
it.
think they're just enjoying us. That they're just entertaining. They're just like, oh, this is entertaining. Like we don't have
No.
questions. We just want to watch you.
I'm with it. Awesome.
All right. Okay. Maybe I have a question. So, what
Yes.
are pre skills so that we don't enter a toxic relationship?
Oh, listen, great question. As soon as I smell a toxic relationship, and well, if you do smell one, you better run.
Okay.
Make sure you run. Make sure you understand that, like, first and foremost, like I explained, right? Red flags. Don't run from red flags. If a red flag is there and is showing up to you, please don't deny it. Don't run from it. Don't think, oh, put the rose colored glasses on and say, okay, no. Take a step back. Remove those feelings for that moment, look at it, understand it, ask yourself, okay, what is actually happening here that is making me feel right now X, Y, and Z, right? And maybe it's something that's coming up for you that you're getting triggered about. So ask yourself, what is this reminding me of, right? Why is my body acting in this way? Why am I feeling this way? X, Y, and Z. That is one way how you can go ahead and see and start to have those pre skills, is seeing those red flags. The moment that you see a red flag, you need to constantly just ask yourself and go down your checklist. What's occurring? Why am I triggered? what's happening, X, Y, and Z. That is one way. Another way is just, again, boundaries. You must have boundaries. You need everybody to understand that your time and your energy comes first. Like, you do not have to push it and, have everybody understand like they can just have accessibility to you all the time. No, like, you also deserve to have time to yourself. So that's also part of that, because sometimes if there's like a friendship or, a relationship, they think they have accessibility to all the time. So those boundaries, red flags, triggers, these are ways and pre-skills that way you can like pick up immediately what's actually happening and what you're feeling.
Wow. Wow. Like, I'm like mentally writing them down in my head. So as soon as it's over, I'm like, right.
Yes.
Like, wow. Like, I
Yes.
love it. I think because that's my fear. I'm like I said, like almost every relationship in my life has been toxic at one point or another, like any relationship. And so I'm like, okay, like, how do I make sure that the next type of relationship that I have, whether my family, work, friends, whatever, partner, that is not toxic. And these are just gems.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you too. Thank you.
Yes. And I'll read the last comment and then we can close. Because I feel like me and you, we could just go all
We
day.
can go on and on. Just right.
You're my coffee
Yes.
to my day. Like,
Oh, thank you. You made mine.
oh. Like, I'm like, who needs caffeine? I just need you. That's it. Like,
That's right. I love it.
But yes, my mom wanted to say yes,
Yes.
self-realization and choice to make changes and continue educating yourself and grow.
That's right.
Thank you,
Yes,
mama.
the mom. Woo!
Right?
She's amazing.
Nah, thank you.
You're welcome. You both are.
Mom, stop commenting. Now she says, how do we help others we love to see the difference between love and dominance? Okay, so she has one last question.
Okay, yeah, no, for sure. So, okay, this is a great question. So, love and dominance, right? Um, you will know that it's love if you feel that if the relationship is healthy, if you know that it's benefiting you, it's also a reciprocation of energy. If it's becoming dominance, aka controlling, manipulation, if you feel like the person is that partner is trying to dominate you, trying to, let's say, for example, remove you or isolate you from family, right? That can happen too, and they try to isolate you, or let's say in a friendship they want to dominate you in the friendship, they want to take over the friendship, not allowing you to speak, not allowing you to express your emotions, and then you're like, wait a minute, so what why am I here? Yeah, why am I in this friendship? So these are ways to think about and understand, like, what is the difference, understanding that you do not want to feel that you're being controlled or manipulated. You need to, as soon as you see that, you need to exit out of it. You need to speak to a friend, you need to speak to somebody, so that way you can process this and talk about it. It's okay to talk about it and understand it, but then you also need to let yourself know that it's going to be time to let it go, because the moment that it's there in your life, it doesn't deserve any space. Only positive things that are allowing you to feel love, be loved. Remember, you want to be loved, you want to feel loved, but you must love yourself first, so hard, and to the most, 10th power, the most trillion power of itself, right? Making sure that you practice daily self-love. You must build upon yourself. So instead of running from relationship to relationship or friendship to friendship, stop. Your friendship and your relationship must be with you first. You need to become your best friend. You need to become your first love. You need to become your everything. And when you become those things, you will then smell it right away, whether it's dominance, whether it's love. You'll know the differences. So that's one way.
Awesome. So we have another question, but I think you
Yes.
basically answered it. But this is Karen, my organizer mom. All my
Oh,
mommies are in
yay.
the house.
Yes.
How can we enforce our boundaries? How do we know which boundaries are right for us? I find it really hard to enforce them. And then
Mm.
someone else seconded this. They said they found that it was very hard for them as well to enforce it with loved ones?
So uncomfortability is always going to be there. But when it's uncomfortable, that means that you're doing the work. When you're uncomfortable, that means that you're growing. When you're uncomfortable, that means that you're pushing yourself to change your mindset and change the lifestyle in ways that you currently used to apply. So when you feel that, you know that it's best for you, meaning that applying those boundaries, yes, it's hard to say no, maybe, for example. Maybe that's the boundary that you're having that's kind of difficult, is saying no. Like, and oh, when I say no, means no. So that I can't show up here, I can't do this for you. No. You know what I mean? No, I'm not available. So let's say that's an example, right? You must understand that it's okay to say no. You have to first work on you before. So this is the thing. If you're applying a boundary but you don't really feel that it's something that it's meant for you, you need to work in that and reflect there and dive deep into yourself to understand what's actually happening, that you feel that this is not the right boundary, right? But you may just feel that because it's uncomfortable and you don't know how to apply a boundary, and this is your first time. But guess what? You need to apply it. You got to apply it and just start just going with it, because the more you apply boundaries in your life in any type of setting, the better you're going to get at it, and the easier it's going to be to protect your own energy and love yourself enough first to understand that you cannot allow there's no room for toxicity at all in your life, and that's just it. Period.
Point
Period.
period. Period. All right. To respect your time, I'm gonna leave the last comment, which is just
Yes.
a statement, and then
Mhm.
we could do a little closing
Yes.
and sign off just to respect your time. All
No
right.
worries.
So this info is so important, especially being in a community of mixed cultural backgrounds where DV
Yes.
is such a commonplace. It's considered a norm.
Woo.
Ooh.
Oh, whoa.
Goosebumps.
Yes. And it is. Listen, I'm a multi-diverse woman, okay? I come from different cultures and backgrounds. And trust and believe, it becomes such a norm. And this is another thing. We've allowed certain things to be so normalized, where we allow just accessibility for everybody to just come in and out of our lives. And you have to understand, why are you allowing that, right? Why allow it to be such a norm? Break the barriers, break these norms, break the generational cycles. It's time to break it. I've been one of those, I was able to break it. I grew up in domestic violence. I then entered a domestic violence relationship at the age of 14, and it was 11 years. So I was constantly in that relationship into my mid 20s. And I was like, you know what? It's time to break out of this, because, if my mother never decided to, and then, and then entering another relationship, then I said to myself, then who's going to do it? So you need to ask yourself, I'm not saying you need to be a savior, but maybe be your own savior, maybe be your own healer. Understand that you need to break that generational cycle for yourself, because it's time. We need to normalize positivity, peace, happiness, self-love. These are things that we need to put priority and make that normal, not having the normalization of that. We're going to continue decades where we see cultures of, like, different genders, just taking abusing us in different ways, right? Taking advantage of us in certain ways when it comes to sexual assault, domestic violence, etc. It's time to change that. And I see that more and more across the world, and understanding that, here in the United States, we have so many more rights. But we even see within our current politics how we are seen as women, right? As women, for example. But this is something to keep in mind, right? Domestic violence does not only affect women, it also affects all genders. It also affects, and it's the same thing with sexual assault, the same thing when it comes to boundaries and so forth. But we need to continue to use our voice, bring awareness, like we are right now today with Waffle House. We're kicking off Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And, being here today is a blessing, and being able to bring this to a platform, but understanding we need to do more work. And that is even in other countries, right? So the more that you continue to break these generational cycles, the more that women and individuals can look up to you and say, wow, like if this person did it, then I can. And this is why Bright Dollface and myself as a hype coach and therapist, I exist as Tejal MSW, because my goal is that nobody taught me this. And so my goal is constantly using my testimony to teach more women and individuals that, guess what? If I did it, you can do it too. You know, it's gonna be a journey. It's gonna be, the good, the bad, the ugly, the confusing, the happy. You know, it's gonna be so many emotions, but it's gonna be worth it in the end, because when you choose yourself, oh, woo, when you choose yourself, woo, that's it. That is it. That is the best feeling that you ever want to feel every single day. Is that you look in that mirror, you're like, I'm everything. Because guess what? I choose myself today. Ha! That's it. That's all. So just things to keep in mind. What an amazing statement, but ended up kind of being like something I want to just tap into. So I just think that was an amazing statement. So thank you for that. Yes.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I just like, I need a second. Like, I'm like sitting here trying not to cry. I'm just like, hold it. You're alive. You're alive. Wow. Wow. I'm definitely going to have to go back and rewatch this over and over with my notepad. Just, I'm living in it right now, but I'm going to have to go back with my notebook because these gems, please, everybody, forward this to your families, friends, everybody. Because, wow, the gems and even just the camaraderie of like feeling like, wow, somebody went through something that I did, and look at that, look how bright you are, look how energetic you are, and it just brings such hope that you can find that bright place
Yes.
and find who you are and who you want to be, and be happy because we deserve that. Wow.
Yes. And we don't, and just to say something, Shahada, and I'm so happy you just said that, because at the end of the day, you see, I want you to remember, all those that are watching right now, please understand that you're not only a survivor, but you're a warrior. Whether or not you've been through domestic violence, you're not only a survivor, you're a warrior. You're able to overcome. And I want you to know that that label does not mean that you're just a survivor and a victim forever. No, you're a warrior, and you're able to overcome everything and anything that you want in this lifetime. So you can choose your happiness over everything. And yes, you can still be happy and overcome and live your happy ending in your life how you want it to be, as long as you choose yourself first. Thank
Oh,
you.
wow. Yeah. I'm so
Thank you.
excited. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, everybody who came, joined, watched.
Yes.
Um, you know, wow, I hope this just really fills everybody's day with love and energy.
Yes.
Thank you for speaking with us. And we do have a few more
Yes.
events coming up. Let me pull up the days real quick so that everybody
Yes.
knows they're ready to,
Yes.
be here and ready for
Our
our
next workshops.
yes.
Yes.
I have to double check to make sure I'm the host, but I
Yes.
hope I am because the energy is just amazing. I love
Thank
it.
you.
I
Thank you.
feel so full. So
Oh,
thank
yay! That's
you.
a goal. Hey, 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 hey. Yes. Thank you.
All right. So, oh yes, so we will be. Okay. So our next one with you will be the 16th at 7 p.m.
Yes.
How to incorporate self-love in your daily life.
Yes.
The 29th at 7 p.m. as well, reclaiming your body confidence 101.
Yes.
So definitely gonna be posting the flyers for these soon, so y'all can come and enjoy our
Hey,
energy
hey, hey,
again.
hey, hey, hey,
Hey.
hey.
And make sure you guys donate to Waffle House to help keep events like this happening, to help
Yes.
keep support within the community, to support, undocumented
Mhm.
community members, a multitude of community members that are already marginalized and being turned away by other agencies. Waffle House is, doing what they need to do to help to not a band-aid, but really installing growth, installing seeds so that these people, can grow and flourish in our world. So thank you.
Thank
Donate.
you.
Thank you for speaking.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And if please be sure to follow me both
Yes.
on Facebook, Bright Dollface, and via Instagram, Bright Dollface. I am so grateful to be here once again. Thank you so much. It is your hype coach, Tejal, MSW. You already know where to find me. Thank you once again, Waffle House. And to Shahada, I'm so, so grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Woo, 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 woo. Hey, hey, hey.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone, for
you.
coming. Woo woo! Let me
Woo!
show a few of the thank yous.
Oh, yay. Oh, I see a comment. That's my sister right there. She said, "Thank you for what
Oh,
you do. You're making big differences." Oh my God, thank you. Hi, sis.
you have like a nice fan group here. Somebody
There
was
goes,
saying
yes.
your
Thank,
bestie.
yes. One of my besties is there too.
Oh,
Louis. So, Jocelyn, thank you so much. Thank you, sis. Thank you, Gabby. Thank you, Jocelyn.
thank you, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mom, Karen,
Shout out to Shada's
Ivana,
mom.
my three Bs for coming out.
Yes.
Woo! Thank you, everyone. All right, we will see you next time and come back on Monday for another event. It won't be with our current speaker, but we have some amazing people. So we will
Yes.
see you there. Woo, 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 woo!
Hype host and hype